I'm Troy Dinbokowitz, one of the owners of Sun Solar Solutions. I have a guest here, Brian Mitchell. Brian Mitchell, thank you for being here today, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Brian, I remember when I met you probably 2.5 years ago, and I remember meeting this shy, young PE teacher that was very quiet that said he wanted to sell solar. Yeah, handsome. And he wanted to sell solar. And I remember the first day I met you, we were out in the field, and we knocked on 3 doors. We set 2 appointments, and then we came back the next day, and we closed them both. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just set an unrealistic expectation. This guy's going to think he's going to go out and just sell every door. And I was really worried about that. Can you kind of tell me how things have transpired for you over the last couple of years? I mean, take me from that day and how you progressed to the leader that you are today and the guy that really is at the top of the leaderboard week after week after week. What happened and how did you get there?
Yeah, well, that is a great story, and I think that's one of the things that I hope happens when somebody is going to go train is they can see that, it can work, So I know you might have been worried that set bad expectations, but seeing, your process that you were telling me works, and then actually going out and seeing it firsthand, you're like, all right, it's not, BS, so it's a real deal. It gave me confidence, and not just hearing it, but seeing it happen. That was huge, and I hope that happens for people. But also, setting the wrong expectations up front. It's not like that happened where you were saying we were gonna, do every day. You verbalize. This is like this is a good day. Sometimes you have bad days. Sometimes you have great days. So it was overall really helpful. I think to see it in action working, and what that did is motivated me. I went out that next day and I knocked my neighborhood. And I didn't know really much about solar. I had sat through a class and I learned, as much as you can learn in a couple hours, coming from outside the industry. No sales experience, no door-to-door experience. And just saying, I saw you did it. I heard what you said. All you said was like, I'm Troy, Sun Solar. Would you be against getting a solar quote? Those are your exact words. And they said, yeah, we would like to do it, So I was like, okay, I can say that.
As easy as that, right? I mean, there is no perfect pitch. Would you agree? It's really going up with the confidence, not being afraid of rejection, right? Because we deal with rejection every day. You just got to get used to it, be confident, believe in your product, and put the effort in. What were some of the mistakes that you made early on that you were able to overcome?
After I went out and I started knocking my own neighborhood, and I got an appointment that day, and that felt good. So I kept going forward. But you go out the next day and you don't get an appointment, and then you go out a couple more days and you go through the solar coaster, and now you're not getting appointments, and then you start questioning. Right. The process, and you're like, all right, well, is what I'm doing working, and is this going to happen? And so what you do is, instead of keep going out, putting in the hours, you start trying to problem solve. Like, all right, well, maybe that's not how it works, and maybe there's some other answers, right? And I think that's the mistake that if I was going to tell myself back then is, that sometimes you can go 2, 3 days, 4 days in a row without an appointment. Okay, so
Isn't that the scariest though, right? I think that was the hardest thing for me too. When I got into the solar industry, and when I got into sales, period, it's when you go out there and you work day after day after day and you get nothing, right? But what I've learned is, would you agree that you're building an avalanche? And that's what I always say, avalanche, because it's gonna fall. It's gonna fall. You just gotta keep building it, and building it. And you're not out there spinning your wheels and not going to get anything in return. And that's the biggest fear is people worry about that paycheck because they got to go home, they got to take care of their family, and they got to make ends meet. So that fear in the back of their head is, hey, I didn't make any money today. But realistically, you're building a pipeline, and a lot of people hit that eject button. Would you agree that that's the most difficult thing to overcome?
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was saying. Is you go through those few days, especially when you're starting and brand new and you're not getting anything. You don't know that what you just explained is building the pipeline. That's part of the job, and then you hit the eject button, right? Whether it be you stop door knocking or try to do something else, but that is part of the process. The part of the process is just putting the time in on the doors, and that next week that you go out, you put that same amount of time in, that avalanche falls. That happened to me last week. I had, I think, 2 weeks without a sale, and we had 4 sales last week, right? So, I mean, you go 2 weeks, no sale, and, you're used to having a couple a week, and, you start thinking, you're like, all right, well, shoot, what am I doing wrong? What's going on? And then, but you just keep going every day, and then, having 4 or 5 in a week, and you're like, okay, so that's the avalanche. Yeah,
I know, and I remember trying to talk to you, and what I like about you is you become this silent killer. You're so quiet, but people go into your neighborhood and they knock on one of your doors, or somebody is unexpectedly in the community that you're in, and I love how you take offense to that, right? You don't like other people on your doors, and that just goes to show me that you're playing for keeps. This guy's in it. I mean, you are out there every day, and nobody's telling you to go to work. You have overcome that, because a lot of us, when we work for ourselves, we're 1099, and nobody's telling us to punch a clock. It's easy for us to say, hey, I'm going to go do this today. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to take my kid to the zoo, or I'm going to go take a lunch with my wife, right? And the problem is we keep making excuses and we don't go out, because the job is very difficult. It's very rewarding, but it's very difficult. But you have to have that discipline, right? And you got it. Every day you're out there, and you got the method. And the method that you're using is the one that I grew on. I mean, I started back in 99, and it seems like a lot of years ago, but I was in the trenches, and I had a route, and I owned it. I had 10 communities, and I owned them, and I stayed in there, and I knew everybody that moved in, and I made contact with everybody. And if somebody got there before me, I took offense to it, and I see you using the same formula, and I just love it. I love seeing that, the commitment.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to do, is just duplicate success, and I think that it's what everybody should do, is look at who's around you is having success and just duplicating it and making it your own. I think what you were talking about is one of the keys to my success, is like taking ownership of your territory. And that's, I think, one of the secrets is, if you're in door-to-door sales, is you gotta really, because you are 1099, you got to create a job for yourself and take ownership of it, not just trying it out, So my mindset literally is that this is my neighborhood, and it is my job to be on this route, and I do need to, talk to everybody. And so when someone else is in there, I feel like someone's trying to take my job,
Yeah.
So I do take it personal, because I have created a job for myself, and I think that's one of the secrets, is whatever it is, whatever you like to do, if you're in door to door, you're knocking, make it your 9-to-5 job. Something, because I think sometimes when people get in here, they say, I'm going to knock 100 hours a week. It's just not sustainable. You're going to do it for, 52 weeks a year. You're going to have, if you have a family, you have a career, you're going to be doing this for years. You gotta think of that in those terms. So I, work Monday through Friday. I put 6 hours in a day, and I just do it every day. And so So you're not at Circle K getting a big gulp, or what do you call it, Thirst Buster? Yeah, no, you have to have a routine. You're actually in the field 6 hours a day. Yeah, you have to have a routine, and you got to give yourself a job. And that starts with, your morning routine. You got to drop the kids off, then you do this, that, and the other thing, and you're out the door by this time. I go to QT, I get my drink, and then I make sure I have enough food, and then you do your normal day at work just like you were going to go to any other job. You got to show up and you got to have a routine for yourself. You can't just be like, all right, I think I'm going to go out today. And you just got to make it a job for yourself.
Right. A lot of people like to make excuses, and I knew that was the hardest thing for me too, is to stay out in the field. And I told you about I always had 30 business cards in my pocket, and I could not go home until those 30 business cards got into the house. And putting it on the door did not count, right? And somebody taught me that years ago. Somebody told me that little story, and it was a niche that I just stuck in my head, and I used it every single day. I did not go home until I got 30 business cards out of my pocket into 30 homes. And I really contribute that to a big part of my success. Watching you, coming from where you were 2 years ago to today and leaving a profession of teaching, how's it changed your life financially?
Yeah, it's been life-changing for sure. Changes your perspective, on a lot of things. Being able to live going from living paycheck to paycheck to actually being able to provide for your family and plan for your future and things like that. It's something that not a lot of other industries you can kind of just change in, a month and be able to do that. Not that you can, it takes you a little bit to get good at this, but the opportunity's there. You just got to seize it. And so it's, been a great thing for me and the fam. We are doing great, and, just trying to take advantage of it while it's here.
I think you and I are one of the original creators of the closer-setter model. I know a lot of people will claim that it was their idea, but I think that we took this hybrid of a system and we built it to be able to create unbelievable numbers for just the amount of people that we have. We have, 4 or 5 man team, and we went out last August, and we were able to put up 625 kilowatts that stuck. I think we ended up with 755 for the month, right? Which is an insane number, and we could have done more. Would you say that the setter-closer model is the model, and you think that is the most successful model? Can you see yourself still playing this role? I mean, I see that you really value the setting part. And one thing that happened with me over the last couple of years is I realized how important the opportunity is. You can be the best closer in the world, but if you have no opportunity to close, you're going to starve, right? Fishing, learning how to fish is everything. And I think that you became a great fisherman. You're a hunter. You're able to go out there into the neighborhoods, and you know what a good prospect looks like, and you know how to set it up. And you know not to throw garbage at the wall to see what sticks. You know that's going to waste everybody's time. So I notice that your appointments sit. If you set an appointment, they're going to be there, and they are interested in solar. What do you think? How did you get to that point, from throwing garbage out there just to see what sticks to the perfect appointments?
Yeah. So, man, that's just a lot that you mentioned. All really good stuff, and I think, that's the whole process of learning, getting into solar, and to getting to this point right now is you're starting off just, like you said, throwing stuff at the wall. And now, after doing it for a while, not to waste your time, so I'm only really interested in working with buyers. I'm looking for sales, right? I'm not looking for appointments.
Right. We don't get paid on appointments, am I correct?
I think a lot of times appointment setters, if you're getting into it and maybe you work with the closer, is you get a little too stressed out on making an appointment. All I need you to do is make an appointment. Just get me in the house. Just give me a date and time and things like that. And then your focus is not on the prize, right? Your focus is completely shifted. And now the closer gets there. Now there's tension because they're not setting good appointments. So I'd rather a setter, get one appointment a day. And as long as it's that person's in the market, they're going to be buying. That's way better than having 6 leads come in a day. And a lot of them are just, getting an appointment with you to get you off the door. So we're looking for buyers, and we're trying to figure out who's on the top of the funnel, bringing them a little bit closer into the funnel, and then just you're meeting with the homeowners trying to pull them a little further through the funnel, and then get them a phone number.
And I love that concept. You use that a lot. You talk about a funnel, and homeowners, when they are entering the solar funnel, right? They're at the beginning stages, and they're first hearing the word solar. They really haven't looked into it, and there's certain stages of the funnel. And I love when you break that down. The solar industry could be a solar coaster. We know that. You have your ups and downs, you have your great weeks, but you got to stay focused, right? You got to have a great mindset. You got to be disciplined. One of the things that I noticed about you is you put everything into a perspective, right? You're very, very careful on the doors that you do hit. I notice that you like to cherry pick. You like to farm, right? You're in the same areas. If I look, you're very good at that. You're very, how do I say it? You know where to look. You know where to hunt. You find the hunting grounds that fit your method. What do you contribute that to? Where did you learn that process?
Well, I learned it from you.
No, really. I mean, I get it. I know I talked about it, but how did you?
I think what you got to do, and whatever you like to do, if you like to get out of the car and just knock door to door, go down the whole street, right? If that's what you like to do. If you like to work with just people that have, red Teslas in their driveway, whatever it is that you get up and you're excited to go do, then that's what's most important, because that's what you're going to be doing. That's what you can get yourself up to do every single day. And I really do think you put the time on the doors and you can be consistent. That's what is ultimately going to win. And so I just have something that I like to do, which is I have a route and I just go through it. And I make sure that I talk to, everybody that is in the neighborhood, and I don't miss anybody. That's consistency, and make sure, I'm cherry picking, people that are home. Just having that consistency in your method, and you're comfortable with your method, and you can get yourself up to every day to do it. And then that's what is consistent, because it keeps you on the doors every day.
Right. And what I found out is, it's an old model, but time is money. And in this industry, it really is, right? You need to maximize your day, and you need to be able to get in front of as many people as possible. And you got to find methods that actually work. And I think you've done a really good job on that. You do maximize your time. And what else can you say that out there while we're finishing this conversation up? What's the message that you can give to somebody coming into the solar industry? Give them some insight to help them be successful in their journey when they get in. What can you recommend? What are your tips, Brian Mitchell's tips, to somebody coming into the industry that's brand new?
Yeah, we touch on a lot of things, in the interview that I learned throughout, those years that have got me to this point where to be successful. And, if I could just instill that knowledge onto someone coming in, hopefully we could bridge that gap and, get them there faster. So I would say take those lessons of, like we talked about earlier, you're going to have that pipeline building time, and you got to be able to, not just mentally get through some bad days and bad weeks, but financially. You got to be prepared when you're getting into it before you get those MP3s that you can make it. So if you can get into solar with a little bit of a runway, mentally and financially, and once you hit those installs, then you should be good. And you just have that mindset of just putting the time in on the doors is number one. There's no secret. It's always time on the doors and being consistent every day going out. Not questioning, yourself, and not questioning the industry. There's all those excuses out there, but, I've been there. You've had a bad week, you've had a bad month, but you got to think long term. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So that mindset, and then having, like we talked about earlier, a job for yourself. Everybody's 1099, so it's almost too much opportunity that you can have, and then you kind of drown in it. Well, I could do marketing, and I could build a team, and I could be a setter, or I could be a closer. There's almost too much opportunity. So if you can really dial it in and say, all right, there's no boss really for you, but if you could be your own boss, then you would say, all right, so today all I'm going to do is I'm going to wake up, I'm going to get ready, and I'm going to do these doors, and start off like that and do it, like I said, you're 5 days a week, 6 hours a day. That's all that fishing, what you're talking about, that's where the success is going to come from, and then after you made it in solar and things like that, now you can try to grab some of the other opportunity, like building a team and things like that. But you got to learn how to fish first. You got to learn how to close first. And then, like you were talking about earlier, is building out that setter closer model team, right? So if you have made it, you're, no doubt you're setting normal couple day, you're having a couple closes a week, and then you're ready to kind of build out your team doing the setter closer model. I think it's a great model for a group of guys guys and girls that work great together. Because I think another thing in this industry is it's a little lonely if you are out there by yourself.
Oh my gosh, is it ever?
Yeah, and so if you can have a setter closer model team, you can have a team that you're working with every day. You're seeing every week. That is going to keep you going through the tough times, right? And
you got to like who you work with. Would you agree?
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Because you're talking to them 30, 40, 50 times a day, and you better like who you're working with. Am I correct?
Yeah. Relationships are everything. And if you can get somebody close to you that you trust and you have a good relationship with, that's a little bit more valuable than even making more money, or anything. So if you can get a tight group of people to be on your team and you can work together to make each other successful, sometimes if you get a little greedy and you're saying, I'm going to do this myself, there's more commission in it, I'm going to make X more dollars if it's just myself. I just see that works sometimes, there's always like that 1% that can just do it. The way that I like to do it is just do it as a team. We all go further together. We wouldn't have never been able to get to 600 kilowatts unless we had a setter closer model. We're working as a team, because there's that time that you're putting on the doors.
Because you're maximizing your potential. Right? Everybody's doing a job, and everybody has one thing to do, one main thing to do: find appointments or close, whatever it is. Everybody's working together as one unit, and I appreciate it. Those are some great nuggets. You've been a huge asset to myself and to Sun Solar Solutions, and you've been at the top of the board. And congratulations to all your success. And thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Anytime.
All right.